Hello, everyone. My name is JT the Talking Head. You are the audience, and you are listening to episode 8 of the Masters of Matinee podcast, a collaborative show between content creators who all share a great love for cinema and a passion for physical media. Our co host today is Teo the Terminurtle, and we're going to be going over some more pickups and recommendations from the Criterion Collection and Teo's really cool experience in a TikTok live with voice actor John Bailey. The Masters of Matinee would like to remind you to please silence all your cell phones and do enjoy the show. In a world where Teo steps out for milk one week and comes back the next with a full pack of cigarettes, after being alive with movies with Leo and John freaking Bailey, the voice actor, the voice of Starscream, the voice of Optimus Prime, the voice of Epic Trailer Guy. Mateo, how do you feel having an up-close and personal encounter with a legendary voice actor?
Well, I was on my way to the store to pick up some milk, and John Bailey kidnapped me. No, it was a very pleasant and extreme surprise. And once he had been in the chat for about 10 to 15 minutes, it hit me. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, we're talking like a real, like, celebrity. Like this is like on a different plane. When he said my TikTok name, when he said Terminurtle, I low-key my spirit left me for a bit. And I was like, why is nobody recording this right now?
Was Leo recording it?
He had talked about how he was gonna like take like some clips and maybe post them, so that makes me believe he was recording it, but I don't know if he like started to record after like a certain point or...
Dude, all right. So this is like just absolutely nuts. So for those of you listening at home who don't know who John Bailey is, I just want to briefly go over his IMDb here. So he's a voice actor. He's the voice of Honest Trailers and Honest Game Trailers, if you've ever seen that online. But like, let's see here. He's been in The Annoying Orange, The Muppets Mayhem, Transformers Beyond Reality, which is a really cool video game. He voiced Optimus Prime, Evil Dead game. So like, yeah, he just does like a lot of video games, a lot of animations. I know he voiced Starscream and Bumblebee, right?
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that he talked about was that he actually did a voice for Leonardo DiCaprio in the Once Upon a Time trailer. So yeah. I guess they needed a quote to be in the trailer and they couldn't get DiCaprio, so they got him to like, which that completely changes the way that I look at, trailers now. Like that's kind of cool.
Right, yeah, I had no idea they would bring voice actors in to like do like little clips and stuff in trailers. That's neat.
Yeah.
It also somehow seems dishonest on the movie industry.
But it does a bit, huh? But it really kind of changes things.
Yeah. So, all right, from my perspective, right, I'm sitting there I'm just watching Leo's live. Now, this is before Mateo gets in. So I'm watching Leo, as Leo always does, just about every night of the week, sitting there with OTS Movies, Steven, and Nerdy Dustin. And they're just chit-chatting, shooting the shit. Which, by the way, in that same podcast, before all this happened, they started talking about creating their own podcast. And Mateo and I are sitting here.
I gave them.
Yeah, we're sitting here thinking, do we have some competition maybe? And, I have an inside man on their lives, so Teo's going to be our spy.
I'm sleeping with the enemy.
He's a double agent.
I have slept with Steven multiple times.
Dude, I want to get Steven and Dustin and Leo on the pod.
Yeah.
I want all of them together. Like it'll be a clusterfuck episode, but I want all of them and you and because when all four of you get on live together, it's magic. Like it's so funny to watch all of you guys. And So before you join, they're talking about this, and then you join, and you're not in the live for more than 10 minutes before John Bailey starts popping up in chat, and then
No man.
eventually he's like, "Can I join?" And Leo adds him in, and then like all of a sudden, and now my perspective is I'm sitting here playing my PlayStation, playing Riders Republic on PlayStation, and then all of a sudden I hear Optimus Prime saying dirty words and inappropriate things. So I'm like, what? And then so everybody in the chat starts like screaming like requests at him. You know, poor guy, he was like, I hate being a voice monkey, because he was there trying to get his girlfriend more followers. Which is why I guess he went and probably did a few lives like that, just joined random lives and tried to get his girlfriend followers and stuff like that. And so he goes into Leo's, and he stayed with Leo for like an hour or so.
He was in there for a long. Well, and to be honest, like legitimately, like when he had jumped on, like I was just about to be like, "Hey guys, I'm a little bit tired. I might just want to, jump on." And then he jumped in, and it was like, "Well, I have to stay."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Well, yeah." But then I had to say like the entire time he was on, because this is like a once in a lifetime. You know what I mean? Like, but
so
yeah, no.
Leo's, and I told you this over text, but I want to tell it here because it was kind of a beautiful damn thing. So Leo has tried so hard to get his fan base to call him the Leotrons. He's a big fan of Transformers, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he wants his fan base to be called the Leotrons. And I think that's adorable. And John Bailey, before he left, put Optimus Prime's voice on and said, Leotrons, roll out. And the look on Leo's face, man, I got a little choked up for the guy. Yeah. It was that you could tell that just meant the world. So I just wanted to just say, like, John will probably never see this, but oh my God, that night was so unforgettable to all of us, to everybody in the chat, everybody in the live. That was amazing. So thanks, John. Thank you for that incredible experience of a live chat. And it goes to show you that you never know what you're going to find in a Leo Zavala live. So go and, I'm going to shout Leo out and say that. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say on the John Bailey situation, my friend?
To a much smaller degree, I had I had an experience much like what Leo did, and I had requested that he do a like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he said Terminurtle in that voice. And of course, because my name is Terminurtle, the Terminator means a certain amount to me. So to hear that and it be him, which I grew up watching like on his trailers. Yeah. By the way, I just want to let you know, the audience cannot see this, but I just downloaded Letterboxd.
Heyo's got Letterboxd. What is that username, sir?
Terminurtle.
At Terminurtle on Letterboxd. That will be linked below in the description of the YouTube video. Sir, do you have a link tree?
I do. I just got one.
Okay, so you guys can find that link tree in his bio, which will take you to his Letterboxd, his YouTube account, and Masters of Matinee.
Yep. Yes, it will. And I just gave the movie Interstellar 2.5 stars. I'm drunk with power.
That's the one. Is that the one with no, that's not the one with Sandra Bullock.
No, but I hate that one too. It's the
that's
one
Gravity.
with
that's Gravity.
Matthew. It's the one with Matthew McConaughey and time travel.
Matthew McConaughey giving Interstellar 2.5 stars. All right. You didn't give it 5. You didn't give it 5. Be a lot cooler if you did. I see John Bailey once, and I'm just trying to be him. Man, I'm ruined. All right, so that's great news. Teo's got a Teo's got a letterbox, but Teo also has a shout out for us. Zed and I came up with this idea last week. We're gonna do shout outs every single episode So I'm going to let Teo go first with his shout out, and then I've got one myself. So Teo, let's hear it. Who you got for us? Who's making great content in our community that you want to put on display today?
You know who's making great content, JT?
Who?
Draco Mays is
Oh my
making
God.
phenomenal content. And when I
Yes.
joined, he was only on for like 6 months. And I feel like just in like the 2.5 months that I've been in this, his collection has grown like exponentially, but also his channel has grown. And he was like one of the very first people in the film talk community that I actually spoke to, and he began commenting on my stuff like pretty quickly. And yeah, he's always been a really chill dude.
Yeah, man. Draco is an awesome content creator, man. He was also one of the first um that I followed on TikTok, and he made that video that he actually asked what made you want to become a film talker and stuff. I love that question and everything because I mean I like talking about myself as much as the next feller. He's just so community based. He's always doing giveaways and stuff. Got mad respect for Draco. I definitely want to have Draco on the pod at some point. Um,
Oh
you can
yeah.
follow Draco at Draco Mays on TikTok, and I believe he's at Draco Mays on Letterboxd too. He's got a Letterboxd as well, so because he follows me on there. So
Oh,
um,
that's right. I can add people. I forgot about that.
yeah, you need to follow me, Mateo. What are you doing?
What is yours?
At
JT?
JT Talking Head. No the. There's no the in JT the Talking Head on Letterboxd because I ran out of characters. I hit that character limit hard. While Mateo's doing that, I am going to go ahead and send my shout out today. Mine is to Monique at Monique's Movie Madness. Monique is doing amazing content over on her channel. She does this really great series for testing her collection where people kind of like DVD Dallas does. I'll make this a two-parter. Both of those guys are great. Monique, DVD Dallas, they both do the kind of the same thing where people will comment a movie and then they check their collection to see if they have it. If they do, they show it off. So yeah, Monique is making great content, and she's getting the shout out, even though I feel like she's already hit the lottery enough because she just won 3 giveaways in a row. she won.
I know, it's
She
pretty
won.
crazy.
She won Teo's giveaway. She won Draco's giveaway, and she won one more. I can't remember who else she said. But my gosh, man, Monique is killing it right now. So let's go give Monique and Draco a little bit of love and go follow them. So with shout outs out of the
Yes.
way, Teo, I understand that there is a new mistress in your heart, in the heart of your collection. Steelbooks are no longer are
I
no
know.
longer the number one girl around your shelves. That's the word that's getting around town. You've been messing with a little lady named Criterion. Hmm?
I know. It was even at the point where there was a particular movie that I had the option of getting it in Steelbook or getting the Criterion, and I picked the Criterion. Mhm.
Scandalous, scandalous.
Yeah,
What was that movie?
that was Parasite.
Have you seen Parasite yet at all?
I haven't, but I did watch a I basically watched like an entire video breakdown that contained all of spoilers and whatnot. But
Make it a
I
priority.
watched
Parasite is an incredible
yeah.
film.
But I watched that about like 2 years ago, so I don't even like remember like everything. Um, but yes, I do want to watch that. I Yeah, so I found out about this Criterion whole they are 50% off at Barnes and Noble for the entire month of July, or at least until July 28th. So technically not the entire month. Um, and I went down to a Barnes and Noble when I went to go grab some milk, and I
Yeah,
bought
yeah.
yeah.
Just like my dad. Just like my dad stepped out for milk and cigarettes and never came back. Ugh.
And I bought 11 Criterion movies in the span of 2 days. One thing that was cool is so we do have a Barnes and Noble member card, and I bought a couple of them on one day, and that gave me points that converted into cash back. and I spent so much on that day. I had $20 cash back.
That's a free Criterion, man.
Exactly. So when I went back the next day, I got an entire Criterion that I didn't have to even pay for.
What was I know like you said you had one Criterion in your collection before this big sale. What was that one?
Boyhood. And I love Boyhood. I very much pride myself on not being like a pretentious like, oh, you have to watch this movie because it's in black and white and that makes it so good. And like I pride myself on not being a very pretentious person when it comes to movies. With one exception, and that is Boyhood. If you do not like Boyhood, you are incorrect.
I've never heard of Boyhood.
Oh no. So, well, let me tell you how amazing this is. Um, so they recorded Boyhood over the course of 12 years, and they would come back for about 1 month. In I think it was June. The director and the cast would meet up each June and just record a piece here, a piece here, and a piece here. And over the course of 12 years, they made this film called Boyhood. And there's not like necessarily like a plot to it. It is literally like you're watching this kid grow up.
That sounds incredible.
It's really good.
That
And
sounds
I
really
think
good.
like and I think that most people's biggest critique with it is like, well, there's no plot. Like it's just but that's the point of it, right? Like
Right.
so this was the Criterion that I purchased, and the cover has a bunch of pictures of the cast sort of throughout the like time as they grew up. So he begins as like a 10-year-old, or no, I think when the film starts, he's about 7, and the movie ends with him graduating. So yeah, so it like goes all the way up until he's like until the end of his teenage time.
That is a very neat concept. That actually reminds me of something. I'm not gonna give this like the at out, but Zed actually has an Instagram account where he has taken a photo of himself every single day without fail for 6 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So that kind of reminds me of that same concept. It's like a time capsule of a human being's life. It's very, very unique and very neat.
Yeah, no, you should definitely watch this if you have a Barnes and Noble, or if you can get access to one. You should pick this up during this whole. But so that was the only Criterion that I had owned for about a year, and now I have like a lot more.
So here is a pro tip. If you do not have a Barnes and Noble near you. So Amazon usually will price match the Barnes and Noble Criterion sale every month that they do it. So right now, Boyhood Criterion Collection Blu-ray is available on Amazon for $19.99.
Yep, right.
Um, so if you and I never, I it's one thing to if you want to go into Barnes and Noble, I understand that for sure because bro, the feeling of walking into a media section is incredible. Am I right? Like
Absolutely.
picking movies off the shelf, it's the best feeling in the world for us physical media collectors.
Oh yeah.
But I've had so much trouble ordering from Barnes and Noble's website, especially during
Oh
the Criterion sale month, and it's like
yeah.
they'll take like 3 weeks to get something to me when Amazon for the same price will get it to me in a day or two. So that's a pro tip
Absolutely. Yeah.
for anybody who's trying to get in on this sale. Amazon usually does reduce the price of their Criterions down to that. So what else did you get in this big old haul, man? I know you made a video on like the first half of it, right? Like the
I
first day, but
did.
do you, this
Yeah.
are you going to make a video on the second part?
Yes, I am going to wait to see if between now and the next couple of days I do actually end up going back, because now I am on a personal mission to get Wes Anderson's entire catalog.
That
That is my new.
that is my goal as well. I'm trying
That
to
is my goal.
I'm trying to get I need to get Life Aquatic and Bottle Rocket, I believe, out of the Criterion Collection. Uh
So in my so on my day 2, one of the ones that I picked up was bottle rocket.
Did you get? I want to go over because like this will come out after probably
Yeah.
most of your sale hauls. This is coming out, I believe, the second, third week of July. So I want to go over for people who have seen your TikTok. This will be a
Okay.
kind of a repeat information, but I want to know. This is
Yeah.
Talking Heads personal stuff. Getting an early sneak peek of your haul. So let's see what you got.
Yeah. So with part one, I bought a total of 7, and I got Marriage Story with Scarlett Johansson.
An Adam Driver.
Yep. I got Parasite. I
Oh, such a
got
great movie.
Yeah. I got Thelma and Louise,
That's on my list.
which was one that literally just came out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's crazy that it is already for 50% off. But that one just came out, and I saw it at Best Buy and was so close to like I should just purchase this. I know it's a bit pricey, and this was before people had told me about the whole Criterion thing. And I'm so glad that I said, no, you know what? I think I'm gonna wait. So we got that one. We got Mulholland Drive,
David
um,
Lynch.
which I have never seen a David Lynch movie.
That's a good
But
one
I
to
know.
start with.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So um the only thing I know about this film is that this is the movie that Peter Jackson watched with Naomi Watts and said, "I want her to be in Kong," which King Kong is one of my like top 10. So I
Right.
was like, well, let me watch the film that sparked her being in this. You know what I mean?
Let me derail you for a second. Tell you a little bit about Mulholland Drive. I'm not
Okay.
gonna give you any spoilers or anything. Not even anything about the plot line. It's very confusing and it might take you a couple watches to really get it. Um,
Yeah.
that movie was originally supposed to be a TV show, and
Oh.
I believe they had pitched it to ABC, and ABC was like, "Nah." And then so Lynch made it into a movie, and then the TV show that he was developing became Twin Peaks. And Twin
Oh.
Peaks, I recommend anybody watch it. It's streaming on Paramount Plus. If you have that, it is one of the best television shows I've ever seen in my entire life. It's very Lynchian. Okay, so you saw the trailer for Mulholland Drive, right? And you were kind of confused.
Yes, I was extremely confused.
Okay, so Lynch is one of those filmmakers that they have become within the mythos of cinema to where there's a whole style built around David Lynch, and it's called Lynchian filmmaking. And so it's kind of like Hunter S. Thompson with Gonzo journalism. Like it's a complete style choice. And so David Lynch pioneered this weird storytelling style with very odd cinematography and camera work. Um, and Twin Peaks fulfills that Lynchian like feeling of cinema, but it's in a wrapped up in a box and a bow of something like an FBI murder mystery, almost X-Files like show. So it's
Okay.
got a lot of sci-fi and horror in it, and it's just wonderful, man. You and your wife, sorry, would love that. Um, watch Mulholland Drive with her. It
Okay.
is a great movie. Um, and if you dig Mulholland Drive, go watch Blue Velvet. Blue
Oh,
Velvet
I
is
okay.
incredible.
So I did see that one too. I didn't know what it was, so I didn't pick it up.
So Criterion has 5 of Lynch's films and his documentary in the collection.
Mm,
So they have Mulholland Drive, Blue Velvet, Eraserhead, which I don't really recommend Eraserhead. I'm in the minority on that, but Eraserhead is one of those movies like where you were like earlier you were saying like I'm not, a snob and I'm like, oh this movie's in black and white, so you have to watch it and stuff like that. Eraserhead's
yeah.
like one of those types of movies where it's like It's a movie that a lot of snobby people recommend. That's from
Okay.
what I've seen. I've seen Eraserhead. It's
Yeah.
very artsy. It's one of David
Yeah.
Lynch's very early films. Um, and then they have Lost Highway and Inland Empire. Um, those are, to my knowledge, those are the only five. Those are the five Lynch films in the collection. Um, I've not seen Inland Empire or Lost Highway. Those are on my list to get along with the Wes Anderson films. But Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive are two of the greatest movies that I've ever seen in my life. So if you do go back
Very
for
good
a
show.
third dip in the
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble pool, uh, consider getting Blue Velvet. It's very good mystery.
I'm going to add that onto my list right now because I do have a list of ones that I want to pick up.
Now, I will say before you get that, watch Mulholland Drive though, because
Yeah.
if you don't like Mulholland Drive, you probably won't like Blue Velvet.
Okay.
So,
Well, and so yeah, so pretty much every person I've talked to has been like, "This movie was great. It was confusing as hell." Like,
mhm.
so I'm a bit intrigued, but I did just watch Brick, which is Ryan Johnson's directorial debut, and that was a bit confusing as well. But by the time we got to the end of it, I was like, okay, I think I enjoyed that.
Lynch is very ambiguous.
Yeah.
It's mysterious, ambiguous. There's his is all right. Here's what I'll say about David Lynch, and this sounds pretentious.
Yeah.
David Lynch doesn't make film. David Lynch makes art.
Yeah.
His films are meant to be interpreted in a lot of different ways. At least that's what I get out of them. Now, some people who are much more educated on film and cinema than I am might be able to look at a David Lynch film and immediately get it. I'm not one of those people. I get a lot of different things out of David Lynch, but I do know enough to know that if you don't like Mulholland Drive, you probably don't like David Lynch because
Okay.
it's widely regarded as his best film. So you did really good with picking that one up. So, but
Okay.
if you dig that one, I would suggest you get Blue Velvet because Blue Velvet's actually my favorite. It's very intriguing.
Yeah. Well, and that's good to know because I do like those types of films, but I have to be in the right mentality. I have to like know that I'm not gonna watch just like a very straightforward linear story play out. That was actually my problem with. So I just watched. Yesterday for the 4th of July, me and my wife were like, "Hey, we're at home the entire day. Let's just watch, movies." So we watched 500 Days of Summer, which is a movie that I've heard a lot of people talk about. I've heard a lot of people be like, "Oh, this movie's, cool and it's great." I never really knew what it was, and that is a very non-linear story. And I want to watch it again because I feel like I wasn't expecting that, and so it was kind of like, like yeah, like it didn't sit with me the right kind of way. But that's because I wasn't expecting that.
I have never seen 500 Days of Summer. Um, I don't even know what it's about.
Now I will say, and I won't spoil this, but the reason it's called 500 Days of Summer, once that like clicked in my brain, I was like, oh, that's actually probably like the best reason for a title that I've ever like. That's a very cool title.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it on my list for sure. Um, what else did you get in the sale?
Yeah.
What's next?
All right, so I picked up a couple of black and white movies because although
You artsy, pretentious
I
fuck you.
know, I know.
Hey, by the way, this
Yeah.
is in case to the people who did not realize it in the last two episodes. Masters of Matinee, I just decided is a fucking TVMA R-rated podcast. Now we're explicit.
Let's go.
So Teos, drop your first F bomb. Go ahead.
Freaking frickety frackin' freaky fucking who.
I got to the point where I was recording with Drew, and he says the F word quite often, and I got tired of editing it out. So I was like, "Fuck it, screw it, let's
Nice.
go." All right, sorry to
Um,
derail you.
yeah. Okay, so I picked up Heaven's Samurai
Oh, you
because
absolute pretentious fuck.
I know I watched it in a college course, and I was like, I don't want to be one of those people, but this was pretty good.
It's one of the. I think Seven Samurai is one of the best films ever made. Kurosawa knew what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah.
Kurosawa was incredible. His cinematography and art direction is awesome. The acting in Seven Samurai was on point. It's literally one of the best movies ever. Um, I also have on my shelf. I have Yojimbo and Senjoro, and also Ran.
Oh yeah,
Have you seen that steelbook for Ran, the Best Buy 4K steelbook, the Lionsgate one?
it's absolutely beautiful.
It
Yeah,
is. It's a piece of art, man. It's a piece of art.
fantastic. Now I do want to get Rashomon because I think I actually enjoyed that movie slightly better.
I
I
want to get
think that's
Dreams.
a better film.
I
Oh yeah.
yeah, I haven't seen Dreams yet. I want to get that. That's on my list for the collection as well.
And then I did pick up Silence of the Lambs because have you seen the Criterion?
Yes, I own it.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. And that is a movie that I also have not watched. I did watch the Hannibal TV show, which was really great.
Silence of the Lambs is one of the best murder mysteries ever. Best
That's what
serial
I've been
killer
told.
pictures. That's so much so, and the Criterion like artwork and the booklet and everything that you get with it is
Yeah.
so quality that
Oh yeah.
I chose to buy the Criterion Blu-ray over the Kino Lorber 4K because when I was in the market to buy that movie, Kino had just released their 4K version of it, but I chose to get the Criterion Blu-ray over that because I wanted Criterion's bonus feature supplements because they had a lot more than Kino did. Um, but I also wanted that awesome packaging, that digibook type packaging that
Yeah.
Criterion does.
Which
Um,
it's phenomenal.
yeah,
It's
Criterion's so high
so
quality.
good.
There's only one like type of disc packaging out there, in my opinion, that can beat what Criterion does, and it's the box sets that like Arrow and Second Sight and Vinegar Syndrome do. Those really
Yeah.
high quality box sets that you could probably kill a man with. Those
Mhm.
are those are leagues better than Criterion. But if you're talking standard Blu-ray, there's a reason Criterion's are usually $40, and it's because one of those reasons is the packaging is so high quality and awesome. So yeah, you picked up Silence of the Lambs. Have you watched it yet?
I haven't. No, so I picked that up literally like the day before yesterday. So I haven't had time yet, but I do want to. I just want to freaking jump into these, man.
Yeah, man. You need to. I would say so far. I'd say start with Silence of the Lambs. It is the most accessible one out of all the ones that you picked up so far. It's the least artsy fartsy. It's the more mainstream, easy to watch. Even though it's not easy to watch because it's a serial killer movie, but it's a great
Oh,
film.
that's like a regular Tuesday afternoon over here, man. You know what I mean? And then I think the last one in this batch was I picked up Arsenic and Old Lace,
That's one
which
of the
is a
newer releases that they brought out too. That just came
yeah.
out a couple months ago.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Which I love this movie. So I watched it in college. It is a comedy. And if you would have told me that I would enjoy black and white comedies, man, I would have been like, there's no way that the jokes like still keep up. This movie is hilarious. It is fantastic.
I've never seen it. What's it about?
So it takes place right after World War II, and it's very timely and has to do with that. But it's like a huge misunderstanding, and there is a dead body being kept in a cabinet, and the entire movie is just like, when are they gonna find this dead body, and who is it gonna be pinned on? And But like, there's even like this one guy like breaks out of prison, and he has undergone plastic surgery to make himself look like Boris Karloff. So that's like a whole kind of like aspect to it. And then there is a character who has some sort of like mental, I guess, sort of problem where he believes that he is Teddy Roosevelt. So there's like a murder mystery going on. There's a dead body. There is a serial killer on the loose, and a guy who thinks that he is one of the previous presidents. And it's just like all this chaos blends perfectly. It's got Cary Grant, who is fantastic, and
Sounds awesome. When was this made?
so this came out in 1944. So this was just after World War II.
So I just want to point something out. This has nothing to do with arsenic and old lace. I just saw something that you did that just made me realize the beauty of physical media even more. You're sitting in front of a TV or in front of a computer, Mateo. I asked you when
Yeah.
that came out. You didn't Google it. You physically got up and you went to your movie shelf and you pulled it off the shelf to see when it was made. That's a beautiful
did.
thing. That's one of the things
Yeah.
I love about physical media, my friend. I love it.
Oh yeah.
I'm
yeah.
adding arsenic and old lace to my list. I need to get this now. It sounds amazing.
Please do. And then I went back because I said that's not enough.
That's
So
never enough. What is that? 6 films that you got the first trip?
that was 7.
7. So that's just that. Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up.
I know. So I went back, and I can guarantee you, I'm at least going back 2 more times because I've got a couple of freaking paydays coming up where it's like, okay, on that day, I'm gonna allow myself to spend, blank towards this. I'm gonna do this towards this, and anyway, yeah.
Well, at the end of July, what's your wife gonna think when you spent $1,000 to build your own Criterion closet?
I won't need to because they're 50% off.
Have you seen? Do you know what the Criterion closet is?
No. Oh wait, yes. Yes.
Okay, I was just about to be like, I'm gonna open this boy's eyes to something incredible. In case you were wondering what the Criterion audience is, dear listeners, or Criterion Closet, it is a YouTube series that Criterion does on their channel where they will get writers, actors, directors, filmmakers in and put them in their Criterion Closet, and they will have a tote bag full of movies that they get to go and pick and show off and tell the audience why they want to get that movie and what inspired them about it, and the importance of it to them. And it's a wonderful little series, and it's like every physical media collector's dream to be invited to the Criterion Closet one day.
Absolutely.
Hey, let's make an affirmation one day. The hosts of Masters of Matinee will be invited to go to the Criterion Closet. We will talk about Criterion enough to where they were like, "You guys want to come to the Criterion Closet?" We go like, "Yes, yes, yes."
Absolutely.
We're headed to New York City right now. All right,
let's do it.
What did you do? What's the damage for day 2 for Criterion Cell redo?
Okay, so I did explain this to you before, but I do want to let the people know. If you have a Barnes & Noble member card, you get points for every purchase. Those points convert into cash back, and that cash back is available to you the next day. So I went to Barnes & Noble, and I actually went with a couple of people, and I used my points for all the stuff that I purchased, and I used my card for all of the things that those people purchased too. And so when I went back the next day, I had $20 cash back. So I got a completely for free Criterion, and that one was called The Island of Lost Souls, which is from 1935, and it is one of the first movies to use creature and monster effects. It is only 1 hour and 10 minutes long. I actually plan on watching it today if I have some time. But it looks incredible.
Who's the director on that?
Murray C. Kenton.
Okay.
And it looks like this.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen that one before.
Yeah, no. This just had like a really cool freaking cover. and then I got some more black and white stuff because I'm a schluck.
Yeah, pretentious
I
piece of shit.
I got Hotel du Nord, dude.
Heard that's a
I
great
am
movie.
so huh.
I've heard that's a great movie.
I am so pumped to watch this. So, do you know what the plot of this is?
No.
Okay, let me pitch this to you because when I heard what this was, man, I need to watch that one too. Um, so a husband and a wife create a suicide pact, and they agree that the husband is going to kill the wife and then kill himself. That is the pact that they create. The husband kills his wife, and then the reality kicks in, and he's like, "Wait a minute, I don't want to die."
Wow.
And that's how the movie starts.
When was that made?
This came out in 1938.
That's some heavy subject matter for
Yeah,
1938, man. Wow.
that, but that sounds fantastic.
That does. That sounds
So,
amazing.
so I picked up that one, and then I started my Wes Anderson collection journey with his directorial debut, A Bottle Rocket, which I didn't know was a movie that was co-written with Owen Wilson. He helped
Oh
to
wow.
yeah. So and he stars in it alongside his brother.
Wow. Owen Wilson wrote that? That's so cool.
Owen,
Ka-chow. Oh wow.
and plus, I'm just reading the back right now. It stars James Caan too.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. I've never seen Bottle Rocket. That's one of the only Wes Anderson flicks I've never seen.
Oh yeah.
Um,
So I think I've only watched like the Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think that's the only one of his that I've seen.
that's such a good movie too. That's such a good movie. What the cuss? Are you cussing
Yeah,
me?
yeah,
I love Fantastic Mr. That's in the collection. You know, that's in the
yeah. Mhm.
Criterion Collection. It's got one of those great packagings like Silence of the Lambs does.
Oh yeah.
It's incredible, man. Um, and the Blu-ray scan that they did for that looks absolutely stunning. Fantastic Mr. Fox is a real work of art. That film is. Uh, it's stop motion animation at its finest. To me, the art of Fantastic Mr. Fox is actually it exceeds Tim Burton's levels in Corpse Bride and Nightmare Before Christmas. And James
Oh
and the
yeah.
Giant Peach as well. It is incredible. It's an incredible looking film, and the story is so sad and depressing, but also heartwarming. Um, yeah, that's a wonderful film. One of Wes Anderson's best. I need to get Isle of Dogs as well. That's another one of the stop motions that he did. I wish that was in the Criterion Collection. Oh, Taya's going to his shelf. He's got it. He's got it. He owns Isle of Dogs. Everybody, he owns Isle of Dogs. Oh, he's got to move. He's got to move the cardboard standee.
You should actually pick this up because this is what I picked up. I got this at Best Buy for like $10, and it includes a Fantastic Mr. Fox and the, the the Isle of Dogs, and it's just them on standard. Oh wow, these are actually Blu-rays I haven't even taken out of the plastic. But the reason I am on a Wes Anderson binge is so I actually do a weekly movie club. We are called the Tarantine Bros. It's me and two other dudes, and you are hearing it as an exclusive here. But tomorrow we are binging the Lord of the Rings, the entire trilogy, and we are watching the extended cuts.
Ew. I don't like
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. I don't like Lord of the
Oh
Rings.
yeah.
That's a hot take. I don't like Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's
So I
fine. They're
never
fine. I grew up
watched it.
watching them. I grew up watching them. They're fine. But in the words of Randall from Clerks 2, there's only one return, and it ain't of the king. It's of the Jedi.
So I've never watched them before. I have no idea what to expect. I don't even really know much of like the plot. So
Well, you're probably in for your first time watching. You're probably in for a treat.
yeah,
My problem with Lord of the Rings is that I grew up watching them all the time, and I never liked them all that much to begin with. But it was one of
yeah.
those things. My dad loves Lord of the Rings and stuff, and I put some respect on Lord of the Rings for sure. Like I don't mind to watch them every now and again, but it's been a very long time since I have watched the trilogy in any sort of fashion. And I freaking hated the Hobbit movies; those were awful.
That's what I've been told. I've been told that the sequel trilogy didn't quite live up to the originals.
It's a prequel trilogy. The Hobbits are they take
Oh, it's a
place.
prequel.
Yeah, they take place before. So I'm not going to give away a lot of the plot here, but because you haven't seen it yet. But the Lord of the Rings trilogy is Frodo Baggins' story, and the Hobbit trilogy I think is his uncle Bilbo. Um,
Okay.
so and it's all about the One Ring and stuff. And yeah, it's I don't know. It's three movies for 9 hours of freaking walking, just walking. They walk and walk and walk some more. And guess what happens in the third movie, like in the last hour of the third movie? Guess what's happening?
They get to fly back, right?
Nope, they're still walking.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of walking. I don't know, man. Don't let me jade you like jade your put any preconception into your head about it. Like I hope you enjoy it. I really do, because but
Okay.
I do not enjoy the trilogy. Was that all the criterions you got so far?
Yeah. But I already have a growing list of ones that I want to go and pick up.
What's on your list? And after that, I'm going to go over my list and give you some of my recommendations as somebody
Okay.
who has collected for the collection for a few years now. And then we're gonna say goodnight. So
Let's do it.
what's
Okay,
what's
so I
what's what's
haven't.
coming up for you?
So the remaining Wes Anderson films. So that would be like Rushmore, Life Aquatic, Moonrise Kingdom, Grand Budapest Hotel, and then there's one more.
Royal
Uh,
Tenenbaums.
yes, yeah, yeah. So there are those. I did add Blue Velvet to my list.
Don't forget to
Oh yeah,
get French Dispatch from Wes
yes.
Anderson. It's not in
Um,
Criterion, but it is still one of his films.
that is currently at Best Buy for $7.99. So I'm actually gonna go pick that up today.
Sounds like I'm
Once,
taking a trip to Best Buy soon.
yep. And then I do want to get the Wally Criterion.
It's an incredible 4K disc. Get it in
Yeah.
4K. Make sure it's 4K, not the Blu-ray. The
Okay.
HDR on the 4K,
Mhm.
it with Wally, especially in the scenes when they're in space and stuff, it's absolutely mind blowing. It's so
Sweet.
beautiful.
Well, and Wally is a movie that I have seen in chunks. So I haven't watched like it in its entirety. I've watched it in like I saw like 20 minutes of it here and I saw like 20 minutes of it there, and so it's just kind of been like. So I'm pumped to actually like sit down and like watch it all.
Gotcha. Yeah,
And
Wally's a fun movie, man. Anyway, but it's that Criterion disc in 4K is
yeah,
immaculate
and then I want to grab Rashomon, which I think I mentioned.
from Kurosawa. Yes,
And then I want to get a bit of a controversial movie, but I actually just watched it today, and it was good. Have you ever heard of Yi Tu Mama Tambien?
no,
So it is Diego Luna's very first movie. It's a very raunchy, risque um type of picture, but I just watched it today, and it wasn't as bad as I was expected to be. People kind of talked about it like as if it was something that you would find on a particular website.
We're R-rated.
Uh,
You could say Pornhub.
yeah. But that's not quite what it was. That's what I was like expecting it to be. Um, but it was actually like really good. It had like a really like nice story. So and if you haven't seen the Criterion of that, it is beautiful.
All right,
I'll
is that everything on your list? Is that
yes,
that the final answer?
that is it. I
All
put
right.
the name in the chat so you can know how to spell it because yeah,
It's spelled Ytumamatabien.
which is in Spanish.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't even know how to pronounce that. There are some amazing films in the Criterion Collection, as I'm sure you have already realized from taking your first two trips down the aisles of the Barnes and Noble.
Absolutely.
Um, I wanted to give you a couple recommendations as well. And I will send you a video that I did last November, I believe, where it was like I did a video on TikTok of the top 5 easiest like to get into movies. Like they're Criterion can be very like they're full of a lot of foreign films, a lot of art house movies, a lot of independent films. So a lot
Yeah.
of them are not super accessible, but I made a list of movies that were like super accessible, and I'll send you that. And I'm for most of my recommendations, I'm going to try to veer away from that and go a little deeper cut. But two of them that I wanted to throw off of that were Ghost World, which is a really early.
Mm.
It's got Thora Birch, who played the little sister in Hocus Pocus in it, and she's not a kid; she's a grown up in this. And it's got Scarlett Johansson. This is from the late '90s, and it's also got Steve Buscemi in it. And it is a weird and wonderful film. It almost reminds me of like the style feels very influenced by both the Coen brothers and Wes Anderson.
Okay.
Um, let's see, and then there's also The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride is probably I don't know if you've ever seen it or not, but it is probably the most accessible film. Like it's literally the biggest family film other than Wally, maybe, in the Criterion Collection. I'd say Wally probably dethroned it, but it's very accessible, and the Criterion scan of it is absolutely beautiful. It just came out in 4K, or it is coming out in 4K very soon. I think it maybe comes out this month in 4K, maybe next month. So maybe if it's not out in 4K yet, maybe wait
So I think it
for.
actually comes out in September.
Okay, wait for now. You know that Barnes and Noble also runs at one of these sales through the month of November, right?
Yes.
So wait till November to get that one on 4K because that's going to look incredible. All right, so the ones that I would recommend that are a little bit deeper cuts, and any Criterion snob browsing r/Criterion on Reddit is going to be like, actually, that's not a deep cut at all. That's like everybody knows about that movie. Let's go with The Seventh Seal. Now, Teo, knowing your like kind of religious background, I think this movie will appeal to you.
Okay.
It's from Ingmar Bergman. The film is in Swedish. It's another one of those black and white movies. It came out in the 60s. It's about a knight who returns from the Holy Crusades, and he's wrestling with like what he has done in those crusades, and he's wrestling with his relationship with God and his relationship with life, and he ends up meeting the personification of death, and
Oh.
death is trying to take his soul, and he challenges death to a game of chess for his soul. um Even though I don't include this movie like in my top 5 movies, I think I put it in my top 10. Objectively speaking, from a writer's standpoint, as well as the cinematography, as beautiful as it is and the direction that Bergman did, I think it is one of the best films ever made. It might be the best film ever made. Like it's
That's incredible.
to me it's up there with Citizen Kane. That is my second recommendation moving on is Citizen Kane. Criterion did an amazing 4K version of Citizen Kane that came out last year. I think maybe last October or something like that. I can't exactly remember when it came out, but that movie looks absolutely incredible in 4K. Orson Welles, Citizen Kane. Next, Martin Scorsese's Raging Bull, starring Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, boxing movie. It's also in black and white, and the HDR on the Criterion disc makes this black and white movie look absolutely incredible. Those actually came out the same month, Raging Bull and Citizen Kane. Plus, the story is amazing. It's one of Scorsese's early films. Let's see. Down by Law. Down by Law is absolutely wonderful. It's a prison break movie. I believe Zed and I talked about Down by Law last episode, so I'm not gonna hark on it too much. But then again, I might not have, because Zed and I talk a lot off pod, so I can't remember if that got mentioned. It's from Jim Jarmusch, which you went to film school. Did you guys study Jarmusch?
I don't think so. Actually, no.
Jarmusch is very like, I akin his filmmaking style to the blues, to blues music. It's
Oh,
very
okay.
it flows like a blues song does. But Down by Law is starring Tom Waits, and Tom Waits is incredible in that movie. It's about three men who break out from prison. It's a freaking awesome movie. That's one of my favorite movies of all time as well. And Jim Jarmusch has multiple films in the Criterion Collection that are incredible. Let's see, maybe one, maybe two more. I'm looking over on my shelf right now. Oh, this is a good one. True Stories. This is another one that kind of has that Wes Anderson film. It's have you ever heard of the band The Talking Heads? No relation to JT the Talking Head, but there's a band called The Talking Heads. You've definitely heard the trend of their song, the Psycho Killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Fa 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 fa. So the lead singer of Talking Heads, David Byrne, wrote and directed this movie called True Stories, starring John Goodman. And this was back in the late 80s. Um, and it's kind of like an anthology type series in this like small town, and all of the stories in the anthology are like stories that would appear in a newspaper. And it's a wonderful film. It's one of my favorites in the collection. Let's see. This is really hard to narrow it down. To give you, because every film that I have in my Criterion Collection, I would recommend. And they all come recommended highly. All right, you might not dig this, because
Okay.
are you okay with me kind of going into religion a little bit here?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so Mateo is a Catholic, right?
Yep.
All right.
Oh,
Have you
I think I know what you're going to talk about. Yeah.
what am I going to talk about?
Are you bringing up Last Temptation? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think of Last Temptation of Christ?
I think I should start by saying that I can completely comprehend the fact that if it is a popular trying to think of like the right way to say it. People need to understand that if something is a popular text or popular, or if it has a big like influence on the planet, it should and can and is completely open to scrutiny. And so what I'm specifically talking about is the like Bible. Um there are a lot of people I know that are like, oh, like they should never like make movies that like question like this or that. But like you need that stuff. Like you need to be able to look at things in a completely open and in a objective type of way. Now, with that being said, I think you can scrutinize religion as much as you please, But if you do it in a mean-spirited type of way, you can't be all that upset when people get pissed off. Because this is a belief that a lot of people have, right? I think that the last temptation of Christ toes that line. I think it's right on the cusp of like, this is good scrutiny, and some of this stuff feels like it was done just to be like, like, so.
I don't get that out of it.
No.
I don't get the scrutiny out of it, the scrutiny part. Um, the Bible says itself that when they came, who was it, the Metatron, right? The voice of God spoke to Jesus and told him what his position was, to that he was to die for the sins of humanity. The Bible even says that Jesus begged for it to not
Yeah.
for it not to happen. He did not want this. He was confused and upset by it, and he didn't understand why it had to be him. Why him? You know. Um,
Mm.
I think that Scorsese takes that idea of Jesus wrestling and coming to terms with what is inevitable for him, for
Yeah.
his path. Um, and it's the stuff that the Bible even harks on that he was tempted by, from Lucifer and everything, in the desert and everything, when he went out in solitude with no food or anything like that. He
Yeah.
was tempted by the snake, tempted by Lucifer. He was all these temptations that he overcame. Um, and Last Temptation is a dramatized. I don't think it's scrutiny. I think it's just us as human beings kind of being like, I wonder what the last thoughts of Jesus Christ were when he was being nailed on the cross. And I
No, right.
think that
Yeah.
Scorsese delivers that well. Is that, because this is a big spoiler alert, but this movie is from the '70s. So if you haven't seen it
Yeah. Oh,
yet,
yeah. Yeah.
if you can skip past this if you don't like it, but if you don't want to hear about it and you want to see the movie yourself, which I recommend everybody do. Last Temptation is a great film. Um, it's like at the end, whenever he is being nailed up, he gets this little girl comes to him and takes him down from the cross, and he goes on to live his life without being a messiah, without being the Messiah, and he has marries and he has children and all this and that. To me, I think that what Scorsese was trying to convey in that film was, it was not to bastardize Catholicism or Christianity in any way. I think that he was trying to just humanize Jesus, which to me is something that's very important to do. If you're looking
Yeah.
at religion, you need to have Jesus be more relatable to you. You need to you it's important to see, to take the parts of the Bible that show Jesus as not being perfect, because a lot
Mm.
of religion nowadays holds Christ up as being this absolutely perfect thing. But the thing was, Christ was not perfect. Christ was human. At like the start it all, he was a reflection of us. That's why he died, to forgive us our sins. He was the embodiment of this of our sin that was nailed to the cross and killed. At least that's my interpretation of it. So
Yes. So yes, and also no, because I get where you are coming from, and I do think that you do need to remember that Christ was a person. But for at least what my dogma teaches, Christ was a human. He was 100% human and 100% God. And he did have the exact same temptations that we all have. But we actually do believe that he was perfect in the sense that he never gave in to those temptations.
right.
So in the last temptation of Christ, when you see him and Mary Magdalene and they have sex, that to me was like, and I completely think that Martin Scorsese, and this is the point that I was trying to make in the beginning, is I think that he has absolutely every right to make whatever movie he wants to make and to add whatever questions he wants to add. Like there are people that like don't want movies like this to be created, And my thing is like you have every right to create this stuff, because it is such an influential part of
Yeah.
of like our culture and this planet. But when you start doing stuff like that, like me being a Catholic, it's like, well, you have every right to make those films, and people have every right to watch those films, but I have every right to be like, that's a little bit too much, and now I feel uncomfortable,
Well,
and now this is a movie that I don't think I want to like, right, like,
right.
yeah,
Well, that, and I respect that, but consider this. You just said yourself that Catholics believe that yes, Jesus, though he was 100% God, he was also 100% man. He was the
yeah,
best of both worlds, right? So, and you said he was tempted. He had those
oh yeah,
temptations of man. Where I think that the wires get crossed in The Last Temptation with people who are looking at it through their own faith, the scope of their own faith, is they
mhm,
forget that at the end of The Last Temptation, Jesus didn't actually get off the cross. I think what Scorsese was trying to convey was that this was a temptation and this was what was going through his mind as he was being nailed up. He was being tempted to, if there was a way to get off this cross, what would happen if I did? What would
yeah,
happen to the world if I did? But the thing is, the reason I don't see it as scrutiny is because in the end of the film, he didn't get off the cross. He was crucified. He did die. He did die for the sins. It was just that last temptation. It wasn't that Christ succumbed to the temptation. But
yeah.
it shows what would have happened or what could have happened if he did. But
Well, yeah,
Scorsese like writes the track by saying, yeah, even though you might see this as like a bastardization of Catholicism, um, I'm not completely throwing the truth out the window or what the faith based truth
mhm,
out the window
yeah.
um, of the crucifixion because he still did it. I'm just trying to speculate about what could have been going through his head during his last moments.
Yeah. Well, and what I mean when I say scrutiny is not that he is trying to like disprove anything. What I mean more is just that I feel like it is allowed to be taken into your own interpretation. And what Martin Scorsese does is he takes the story of Jesus into his own interpretation.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about when I say that these topics should and can be and they are completely open to scrutiny.
Right.
Is is him is when he made that film, he said, "But what if it happened in this way?"
Hmm.
Um, yeah, which I think that you have every right to do. It's not like I want this film to be, you know, you know, taken off of all of the stores and whatnot. But at the same time, when you do that, I don't think you can be that upset when people are like, "This is uncomfortable. This is not." You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I got two questions on the subject, and then we're gonna take it home here. Um,
Okay.
as a Catholic, and
Mhm.
folks, we're not gonna get into religion super often here, and I think that
Yeah.
this is the way that we should discuss religion and handle religious topics within films on this show. This is my goal is to be, Mateo and I have very inherent opposite beliefs on faith and religion anyway. And look at us, we're having two very moderate opinions and stating those and having a discussion about it. We're not screaming down each other's throats. Come on, folks. If we can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you think like overall, what do you think about Last Temptation? Like, can you watch it and like view it as like a piece of artwork and faith-based opinion and stuff like that? Like, is that a movie? Let me put it this way. Is that a movie that you would put on your shelf?
It is not a movie that I would purchase. I did want to watch it because I had been told a lot about it from a lot of different people. There are people that go to my church that have talked about it. There were people in my school that were in my classes when we were talking about movies that were speaking about it, and I was hearing a lot of opinions, and they were all very strong, on completely opposite ends of the spectrum. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to watch it. I wanted to form my own take on it, and I didn't want to praise or condemn a movie that I did not watch.
Have you seen it yet though? Did you watch it when you were in
Yeah,
film school? Okay.
yeah.
If you do you think that you would be able to put your like religious views of it aside and put it on your shelf as an appreciation for just filmmaking because the direction and cinematography in that film is incredible itself.
No, it is a very well made movie. Um, at the same time, yeah, and these are just my personal beliefs, but there are actually a couple of movies that I went to watch, and movies that I was like, that was good, that was very well made, but they had things in them that like I absolutely love movies, but my identity is in my faith. It is in my belief, and I'm not going to get too, you know, preachy, but I believe that before anything, I am a child of God, and I want to serve my God, um, in a way that that I have come to believe is the best way that I can. And yeah, I just it's not a film I would be comfortable owning. I think that in our country specifically, money speaks, and it's not a film that I would want to put my dollar towards. And there are a couple of those where it's like that movie was good. I can recognize it was good. Cast was good. But I'm not necessarily gonna like contribute to this, if that makes any. Yeah.
We're gonna wrap it up and take it home. Teo, thanks for joining us once again. There will come a day where I'm gonna stop thanking you just because it's an everyday occurrence. So, but right now we're still in that phase of like where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have the Terminurtle, the legendary Terminurtle, on this show. I'm so like once again, man, I'm so glad. I have such a great time every time that we get together and record one of these episodes. These are some of my favorites. This whole podcast, man, is so fun. It's so fun to record with you guys. I want to get you in a call with Zed, and I want to have some of these conversations with Zed because he is very, very atheist. So
Yeah.
but he comes at it from a very moderate and very open-hearted
Yeah.
aspect of his opinion there. So I think that like and like I said, I don't want to get this show too like into religion or politics or humanism or anything like that because it's about the movies. But I think that and me and you have had this discussion before. I think you can find God and meaning of faith in any film as long as you're looking for it.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you can
Oh
find
yeah.
it at some points in every movie that's made. Like, so I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's an interesting topic, and I would love to cover it with you. And everybody listening along, let us know if you guys would be interested in that. But please, please, for the love of all gods, the Catholic God included, don't get offended. Don't get offended for our takes on this stuff. We're just two evolved apes trying. Well, I mean, I guess Teo doesn't believe we're evolved apes, but I believe we're two evolved
I
apes.
I do believe in a like evolution. That is actually
What?
that is actually a Catholic belief. Did you know? Did you know a Catholic priest came up with the Big Bang?
No.
That is a Catholic belief, or that concept was created by a Catholic priest. People are under the idea that we like don't believe in like science, and it's like we believe in truth. So like the Big Bang took place, Pangea took place. There is proof of like evolution. Truth does not contradict truth. So all of these things are true, and but now I'm getting too preachy. This isn't, you know what I mean? But
That's a revelation to me, my friend. I didn't know the Catholics believed in evolution because let me tell you, where I'm from, we got those Southern Baptists, and they sure as shit do not believe in evolution.
the big thing to me is that I do want to talk about this stuff because I feel like people forgot like how to disagree, and like we've talked about this stuff without being on the podcast, and it hasn't impacted us. You know what I mean?
No.
Like in
Matter of
in,
fact,
like,
I think it's brought us closer.
yeah. So like and it's not like I want everybody I know to be Catholic.
Yeah,
Like
variety is the spice of life.
yes, right. Like I enjoy having different perspectives and different uh, uh, opinions, but I feel like our culture is like you have to believe everything that I do,
Right.
or I don't want to speak with you. And it's like
Well,
no.
it's like that in the Bible Belt too, my friend. It's like that down
Yep.
here, and I guess we're up here from you, but yeah, man. Like, and just to give like the audience a little bit of perspective and show how the sausage is made a little bit behind the scenes over here at Masters of Matinee. We all talk fairly often off of recording. You know, like I think that's one of the coolest things is that we have all, even though we all started as collaborators on TikTok, we've become buddies. Or at least I have become buddies with Teo and Zed and Drew and with Teo and I specifically, we have talked at 2 o'clock in the morning about some really heavy shit, and
Yeah.
and I only think even though almost all of it is like we are on completely opposite ends of the spectrum, we're from two complete different cultures in this country, and we can sit down and have a conversation about this stuff and view it analytically and have this discussion and not be offended at each other's beliefs and also be open-minded enough to say, hey, you know what, that's a decent point. I never really thought about it that way. I might not agree with you, but now I can see how your perspective makes you believe that in particular.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think that's important. I think that's important in discussing religion, politics, and it's also important in discussing film. That's how I constantly am able to check myself from becoming the dreaded film bro or a film snob. Is that I realize that perspective is the key to viewing anything in life, and your upbringing and the culture that surrounds you is going to have an effect on how you view the world, on how you view art, on how you morph your opinions. And I think that it's an absolutely wonderful thing. And it's been my favorite thing about this podcast, next to the community building aspect of it, is that I've gotten together with these three other gentlemen from completely different walks of life, all of us, and we're able to come together and have these really deep and wonderful discussions. And it's all rooted in film. And to me, that is absolutely magical. So yeah, once again, Teo, thank you for coming on, and thank you for being a master with us and entertaining us every couple weeks with your great takes and everything. So that this is amazing.
Well, man, I am just so glad to be here. I'm glad to be able to have these talks with you, and we broke my 2 episode curse.
Woo!
So here we go, man. We are
Yes,
trucking
sir.
along.
Yes, sir. We are on the track, man. We are on the track. Zed and I um broke the 2 episode curse yesterday because
Nice.
yesterday was his third episode. Yesterday, the day before yesterday was Drew's second. So we got to get Drew past the second hurdle. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, this I believe is episode 6. There should be episode 6 anyway. So yeah, y'all, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next week, same bat time, same bat channel, every Blues Day Tuesday. Say goodnight, Teo.
Good morning.
Man, that episode took a more serious turn there at the end, but it goes to show you that you never really know exactly what you might get when tuning into the show. We'd like to thank everyone who's been listening along. We'd like to remind you to go ahead and follow Masters of Matinee on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Special thanks to this week's co-host, Teo the Terminurtle, who can be found on TikTok at Terminurtle. Don't forget that all 4 Masters are now on Letterboxd. Come see what kind of movies we've been watching, and be sure to leave a comment and let us know that you listen to the show.
Their links can be found in the description. Remember to also follow me on TikTok and YouTube at JT the Talking Head. Thank you all so very much for listening to this awesome collaborative effort between four guys who just want to talk about the things they love, movies, and physical media. Be sure to join us next week and every single Blues Day Tuesday. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see ya.